and welcome to the sixth episode of the DIH Talks. My name is Ivan, I'm support officer at the Digital Innovation Hub, and today's topic is user-centric design. Please welcome our speakers. We have Laurence Johansson. She's researcher at the Luxembourg Institute of Science and Technology. She will introduce you to the Test Before Invest services of the DIH. Then we have Lou Schwartz, R&D engineer and user experience designer, also from the Luxembourg Institute of Science and Technology. Our three guests are from the list. And we have, Valérie Marquis, lead researcher at the Luxembourg Institute of Science and Technology. Yes, I give the word to you, Laurence.
Thank you, Ivan. Good morning, everyone. So I will now show my slide. I have the pleasure to welcome you to this webinar. And before I leave the floor to my colleagues who are going to present you how to create innovative user interfaces using user-centered design, I will give you a short introduction of our role list into the DIH and why we are animating this webinar. So our goal list for industrial companies, our mission is to provide you with the opportunity to experiment solutions before you adopt them. And for this, we put at your disposal some test before invest infrastructure that we have to help you visualize large sets of data to support collaborative decision-making, to immerse and experiment solution into innovative labs, to use extended reality, to experiment with connectivity, workshop, prototyping. So if you want to visit our infrastructures and lab, please contact us and we'll be glad to organize some visits and present you what we can do together. And here is how we can do it. So we propose to you within the DIH 3 types of activity to help you experiment with technologies. The first are the tech talks, just like this morning. So we introduce you to one technology or one solution that can help you with your daily challenges for 1 hour. And then if you want to go further, you can come and have a test with us during 4 hours. You come and you experiment some technological solutions based on real industrial use cases. And should you want to go further and engage with the technology, but you're not sure what is the good technology for you and what is the good solution, then we can go for a digital opportunity scoping together. That's for one company. So as to the DIH talks, along with our DIH partners, we provide you with many topics. We've been discussing AI, connectivity, no-code platforms, blockchain, extended reality. This morning, we are going to present you how you can use user-centered design. Then we can meet in June at Nexus, where I guess most of you will be too. Then on June the 20th, we'll have a webinar, a talk on IoT prototyping. In October on the AI Act and how you can comply with AI regulation. And then upcoming next year, we'll talk about private 5G networks and digital twins. So check out on the DIH website for the next webinars. And then, as I told you, we can go for hands-on workshops. And the next one that we are planning, register if you're interested, will be at least on June the 29th, and we'll be talking on how to use AI to do predictive maintenance. And then in September, we'll address data acquisition and visualization. In October, extended reality using the Unity software. Then on November the 13th, we'll have the workshop related to this talk, animated by my colleagues Lou and Valérie as well, on user-centered design. In December, we'll talk about data storytelling. I guess some of you have attended to the webinar related to this as well. In January, blockchain, and February, visual inspection with AI. And some more will be planned along the year. And then, as I told you, should you want to engage with the technology, we can guide you. So we could have together a first working session where we explore your business needs, whether you want to improve your process, optimize your production, improve the quality of your product, and see what kind of data you have available and what kind of data we need to acquire. You need to acquire as well. Then we can assess your capacity, and we'll be able to assess also the fit for purpose of the data sets that you could provide us with, and give you a first insight of what kind of dashboard or visualization or use you can do with those data. And at the end of this, we can deliver you the requirements for your tailored solution for your company. And it can be under the form of a RDI low project. So you can directly go for a project. And we can organize also for you a tailored workshop with your own data, where you'll be able to test some technological solution to analyze and visualize your own data. So call for us if you're interested. My colleague Prune and I will be glad to answer and organize stuff for you. But for the moment, I will let Lou and Valérie tell you how to create innovative user interfaces using user-centered designs. Thank you. Have a nice webinar.
Okay, hello, good morning, everyone. So welcome to this seminar, and thank you very much for joining. So my name is Valérie Makil. I'm a researcher in human-computer interaction, and I'm working with tabletops, large displays, wall displays, and basically I'm studying how such settings can be used to support collaborative work in different situations. So I'm doing this seminar together with Lou, which you will meet a bit later. And we will be trying to give you a bit of an introduction to user interface, to user interaction design in the context of industry. We'll start a little bit from the basics and then explain you what types exist and what are methodologies and tools you can use to design them in a user-centric way. So, first of all, what is user interface? What do we mean by user interface in this context? So user interface, it's basically the means by which the user and the computer system can interact and communicate. So very broad. Basically, the interface, why I'm interested in it, it's the key to make products not only functional, but also intuitive and accessible. So it's quite important. So user interfaces have already evolved quite a lot. They exist basically since there exist computers. And here are some of the most common ones which were existing throughout history. So first I want to mention is the command line interfaces, which were popular from the 1960s until 1970s. And yeah, they were operated using text and keyboards. And basically through this, they were only accessible to expert users. Then in the 1980s to 1990s, there was a rise of the graphical user interfaces in the attempt to make it more accessible for everyone, and everything was displayed in a graphical way, and the mouse and the keyboard, the mouse basically was invented. Then in the 2000 to 2010, through the mobile revolution came also the touch interfaces in the attempt to make computing more personal and also more portable. Then after 2010, up to now, we see a shift towards more natural and immersive interfaces and making use also of voice control, gestures, and objects. So why did this shift happen? This summarizes a little bit. It's a bit an old picture, but it was done by O'Sullivan and Igo in 2004. It was done a bit as a response to these first attempts. And they criticized that these first attempts, they were basically reducing the user to this, so to a finger, an eye, and 2 ears. But basically, the human can do so much more. It has 2 hands and has a whole body and has multiple senses. So it was a bit a call to ask for new types of user interfaces, which go a bit beyond this. So now what do we see? We see, for instance, the natural user interfaces, where the idea is to emulate the way humans naturally engage with the physical world, and then to encompass multiple sensory modalities such as gestures, speech, and touch. For instance, you see some pictures here, and the one on the right, it's done in LIST, also a project from us, where we are tracking faces, gestures, and body positions in a wall display environment to generate some cursors that can be provided on a distant location. So when you connect through video conferencing, then you can generate such cursors and provide this information on a distant location. The idea why to do this is to facilitate some seamless communication with the technology, and then also to reduce the learning curve, so to make it more natural and that people would learn this more quickly. Another type of user interfaces is the tangible user interfaces. And here the idea is that users can manipulate physical objects. So you add physical objects to the interface, and then they can manipulate them and they can interact with digital information. So the boundary between the physical and the digital world blurs. And this allows to make interaction more intuitive, more engaging, also more effective for educational purposes, and to facilitate collaboration and accessibility. In LIST, we also explore this type of user interfaces, and we use this on the tabletops. You see some of the pictures to support more natural interaction and to make it more useful in collaborative contexts. Then another type of user interfaces is Internet of Things. So here the idea is that you integrate computing in miniaturized devices, and they can then have multiple form factors and be directly integrated in the everyday environment, everyday objects. Very known examples is the smartwatch or this intelligent fridge. These devices are then equipped with various sensors, motion trackers, biometric sensors, and very important, connected to the internet. The idea is here to enhance convenience and most importantly to simplify and automate tasks that are really difficult to do for humans or not maybe even impossible. You can see here also, the smartwatch and the fridge is very common examples, but we also explore in some of our projects more unconventional settings like this beehive you see on the right, where sensors are integrated and then they can monitor the production of honey. We also have created a prototyping tool to prototype Internet of Things. Laurence before mentioned it quickly for one of the seminars. We have created a tool that allows you to prototype Internet of Things systems and to explore how they would be useful in different situations. Then another type of interfaces, it's large and multi-screen interaction. Here interaction is divided over several displays. It can be on digital tabletops, wall displays, or combined also with personal devices like tablets and mobile phones, in the idea to enhance collaboration because multiple users can be there, and also to create more immersive settings. We use this also to be able to display more data, to compare different types of data, what you see on the left image, But also this immersion aspect, there's an example of a project, what you see in the middle, where a pedestrian is immersed in a virtual environment where autonomous cars are driving, and we use this to study and to explore how pedestrians react with different designs of autonomous cars. Okay, and I think one is left, last type of user interfaces, if it comes. Yes, is augmented and virtual reality. And here the idea is to wear these head-mounted displays or augmented reality glasses, and to alter a user's perception of the reality. So to be really fully immersed into another new type of reality, where digital content is then overlaid on the user's view. Here, an example is what you see on the left, an environment where radioactivity is visualized, and then this can be used for training purposes so that operators can learn how to move in such an environment where there's radioactivity and how to get objects out, for instance. It can also be used, what you see on the right, for educational reasons, where you have some kind of dollhouse and users can manipulate household appliances to see how this impacts energy. Okay, and now I'm gonna hand over to my colleague Luke.
Yeah. So first, we list some uses of user interfaces in the industry. First of all, dashboards are largely used. A dashboard displays indicators to give an overview of something, a device, a machine tool, or even people, to identify issues and what is running well. It can be in real time or not. Then the control room, where decisions are made and actions taken to solve problems in real time. And nowadays, most machine tools have a digital user interface. When strategic decisions must be made based on existing data, a decision support system can be used to facilitate analysis and decision-making. This collaborative system often allows for the inclusion of different profiles with specific knowledge and responsibilities. Some training courses, particularly those that may impact the safety of people or system, as presented previously, can be delivered in simulated environments. You, of course, use management software, and maybe some of you also need to provide application or software to your clients. In this case, you design the user interface. To do that, we propose you to follow the user-centric design process described in the ISO norm. Why worry about user interface design? Because a user-centric approach offers considerable benefits. First, it improves productivity and efficiency. When interfaces are designed with the user in mind, everything runs more smoothly, saving time and resources for the entire organization. Second, it leads to reduced training and support costs, thanks to intuitive and easy-to-use interfaces. The purpose is to create usable interfaces that are more accessible to all types of users and their disabilities. A well-designed interface is simply more pleasant to use, which significantly improves the user experience. It can even have an impact on well-being by reducing the frustration and stress often associated with complex and confusing systems. User-centric design can give you a real competitive advantage, enhance your brand image, and set you apart. And it even contributes to achieving sustainability goals through more efficient and less resource-intensive interactions, as well as through respect for users and their diversity. So it's clear. focusing on the user isn't just an advantage. It's a smart strategy that delivers tangible benefits at every level. It's a practical approach that places people, the user, at the heart of everything you do. It's about putting yourself in their shoes, understanding their challenges, and designing solutions that truly meet their needs and requirements. The result? Systems that are not only functional but also highly user-friendly and useful. Ultimately, by prioritizing user satisfaction throughout the design process, you don't just create a system, you foster its adoption. But what is a useful system? It's a system which has an utility, that means it does what I need to do, and that is usable. That means it's easy to use it and I like to use it. Usability can be decomposed in several dimensions. Learnability, I can easily learn how to use it. Efficiency, it does quickly what I need. Memorability, I will remember how to use it the next time. Errors, it does what I need without errors, or I can manage easily the errors. Satisfaction, I like to use it. I said before, the purpose is to favorize the system adoptions by users. This process is composed of 4 steps. The first one is to understand the context of use in order to specify it. This initial phase is dedicated to a comprehensive investigation of the target users, their tasks, and the environment in which the product or service will be employed. This is the time to observe and understand the user's needs. Second, requirements specification. Drawing on the knowledge gained during the context analysis, this step formalizes user and organizational requirements. These requirements serve as guiding principles for the design process, ensuring that the final product effectively meets the identified needs. This is a time to list and document the user needs. Thirdly, designing potential solutions. This iterative phase focuses on the conceptualization and creation of design solutions. Different techniques can be employed, such as sketching, wireframing, and prototyping to explore various design alternatives. The emphasis is on generating a range of potential solutions that align with the previously defined requirements. This is a time to draw how to support users' needs. Finally, evaluating designs. In this stage, we propose design solutions. The proposed design solutions are tested with representative users. Feedback is gathered to identify areas for improvement and to ensure that the design meets the usability and user experience goals. It is up to users to tell us whether their needs are met. In summary, the user-centric design process progresses through understanding, specification, design, and evaluation, ensuring that the outcome is a product or service that is effective, efficient, and satisfying for the target users. The end of the process is indicated by the achievement of a sufficient level of user satisfaction. 6 principles underpin the user-centric design process. First, user understanding. This principle emphasizes the critical importance of acquiring a deep understanding of target users and ensuring that design decisions are based on empirical data rather than assumptions. Second, the direct involvement of representative users throughout the design is crucial to identify usability issues, validate design assumptions, and ensure that the final product meets user expectations and requirements. Third, design is guided and refined by user feedback. Every idea, design, and even correction must be inspired by user comments or observation. The process is iterative and not linear. This allows for continuous learning and refinement, resulting in a more robust and user-friendly result. Then we go beyond the functionality of a product by addressing the entire user experience, including all aspects of user interaction, from initial engagement to long-term use. And we definitively need a multidisciplinary team, including at least designers, developers, as well as field specialists and business experts. But everyone who can bring some interesting feedback is welcome in the team. Okay, so how to design for your target users and not just everyone? For instance, if you have to design a chair, what do you pay attention to? Definitively, stability and the characteristic of a chair. 4 legs, a seat, a backrest. But also the average person's height, ensuring that the chair's dimensions are adapted to the dimensions of the table. What would you change about your design to make the chair suitable for a 3-year-old child? You will probably want a more robust design, perhaps one that is washable, and especially one with different dimensions, adapted to the size of a 3-year-old child. And for an elderly person with mobility difficulties, the comfort will be different, perhaps with armrests to make sitting and down and getting up more easily. So we can see that the design changes depending on the target user and their characteristics. It's the same for interface design. You must consider the characteristics of future users. Will they be experts or novices? What is their role in the company? Do they need specific information, or will they perform different actions depending on their role or profile? For example, this 3D printing preparation software, additional information and actions are available for expert profile. Now, you need to design something to wash clothes. What do you need to consider? What will your washing machine look like for family? It will certainly be able to wash a large load at once. But for someone living alone in a small apartment, the size will be reduced to accommodate the need to wash fewer loads and the available space. And what can you offer to a student living in a dorm? The solution will be outsource the service to the laundromat. Thus, the context of use is essential to provide useful information to define the appropriate design. And now, you have to imagine a solution to wash clothes, but without electricity and less water. Why? Because it's the context of your users. There is a video link to watch the design process of this engineer building a washing machine for poor people with no access to electric washing machines. You can watch it later. When designing, the user's context is guiding your decisions choices. For example, do the users work alone or in group, in the same space or remotely? Do they work in an office or in a noisy, dirty environment? or perhaps on the move. What is a process their task is part of? And what are the preceding and subsequent tasks? Is there a need for validation or supervision? And another important thing to know is what other software will be connected to your service. To implement user-centric design, there are different methods that cover the 4 stages. In step 1 is all about getting to know the users. We will talk to them, observe them in real life, and document how they do their task currently. We can have casual chats, more structured interviews, or even send out surveys. Plus, we can explore existing info like reports, analyses, etc. We can also create personas. Think of them as fictional characters we invent that represent the different types of people who will use our tool. But never forget that they must be built using real data. Each persona gets a name, a little backstory, their goals, their frustrations, etc. It's like giving our users a face and a story. So instead of just thinking about users, we can think about Sarah, the busy student, or Mark, the tech-savvy professional. This helps us empathize. They can even physically represent users. Did you know that the first crash test mannequin representing an average woman was created last year? So until now, all the safety features of a car were designed only for the safety of men. To know what users actually do with our product, we can use a user journey map. It's a timeline that visually represents all the steps a user takes to achieve a specific goal with our tool. We map everything from when they first realize they need it to when they are using it and even what happens after. For each step, we don't just note what they are doing, but also how they are feeling, what their thoughts are, and what pain points or frustrations they might encounter. For sure, you can use brainstorming methods to imagine new solutions. It can be done with the project team and/or with users. A focus group is a guided group discussion with a small bunch of our potential users, maybe 6 to 12 people. We get them together and ask them questions about our product, their needs, their experiences, their thoughts, and feelings. It's not just a chat. We have a moderator who guides the conversation, making sure we cover specific topics and that everyone gets a chance to share their perspective. It's a fantastic way to uncover a range of opinions, attitudes, and insight in a relatively short amount of time. Focus groups help us to understand the why beyond the what. The storyboards can be used to specify requirements. Think of them like comic strips for our user experience. They are composed of ordered drawings, sometimes with a little text, that tell the story of how our feature could be used by our users. It's a quick and powerful way to imagine concretely and communicate in the project team how a user will flow through the experience. We can also use them to validate our ideas with the client. Now we need visual representations. of what our final products, screens, or interfaces will look like. Mockups are incredibly valuable because they allow us to visualize the user experience more realistically before we invest significant time and resources in coding. They provide a tangible visual target for the development team and a more concrete way for stakeholders and users to understand and provide feedback on the design. All ways of representing the interface can be used during the process. From the sketch, a simple drawing, the wireframe focusing on the structure and content, the mock-up to introduce the aesthetics, to the prototype to simulate the final design. To evaluate the designs, think about user tests. A user test is when we ask real people to use our product or design while we observe them. We give them specific tasks to complete and watch how they interact, noting what works well and where they struggle. We might think our design is perfect, but watching real users try to navigate it often reveals unexpected issues and areas of improvement. We absolutely need user tests when there are risks involved. Think about a medical device or complex industrial interface. If users can't operate it safely and effectively, the consequences can be serious. User testing in these scenarios is crucial to identify and mitigate potential hazards early on. To avoid risks and hazards, we can simulate the environment using, for instance, augmented or virtual reality, digital twins, video, or even using mannequins. Questionnaires are used to ask users about their experience. We use them to get their opinions and feelings, giving us valuable insights beyond just watching them. They enable easy comparison, for instance, between two versions. There are a large number of questionnaires that can be easily reused to measure usability as the system usability scale. The attractive can help you to measure the user experience. And the Nasatelix to measure mental and physical load. And there exist a lot of other questionnaires already developed and available. For example, you need to I missed one slide. Okay. One slide is missing. Okay. No worries. So we talk about usability and user experience, but there is a difference between the both. For example, you need to protect your head if you fall off your bike. A helmet seems like a good solution, but what design? These three helmets do the job, but they will be perceived differently because they have different aesthetics that convey certain values and symbols. One is more sporty, one is more urban, and the last one is fun or childlike. And appeal to different motivations like not looking ridiculous while protecting yourself, or maybe brightening up the world and making people smile while asserting your personality. Here we have a need, which is to watch a football match, but two very different experiences. So experience is beyond the need, but it includes need. User experience encompasses all aspects of an end user's interaction with a company, its services, and its products. Good UX goes beyond just functionality, aiming for ease of use, efficiency, and overall satisfaction. A good UX considers also hedonic qualities like pleasure, satisfaction, attractivity, stimulation, identification, and evocation, often engaging multisensorial aspects to create richer and more memorable interactions. It's about how a user feels across all their senses before, during, and after the interaction. User experience is not a static entity. It's built and evolves over the entire duration of a user's relationships with a product or service. Every interaction, from initial discovery to ongoing use and even post-use support, contributes to the overall perception and feeling a user develops. Positive experiences accumulate, fostering loyalty and satisfaction, while negative encounters can erode trust and lead to abandonment. For example, to meet the need to travel from point A to a point B in a city, we can use a bus. The user experience of this bus then begins when the user considers taking the bus, that is, when they inquire about routes and schedules, when they are buying tickets, and when they wait for the bus. But the experience also continues when they are off the bus. For example, is there an access ramp for people with reduced mobility or a nearby bike station to finish their journey just around? And when a user uses a service very regularly, they will adopt different behaviors and have additional needs, as in this bus, of people going to work and starting work on the bus, with a resulting need for power outlets or USB ports. To conclude, the user-centric design process is an iterative approach that focuses on understanding user needs, creating design solutions, and continuously evaluating them with users to ensure usability and satisfaction. Its core principles emphasize a deep understanding of users, incorporating their feedback throughout the design cycle, iterating based on that feedback, prioritizing usability, and considering the holistic user experience. Ultimately, user-centric design aims to create effective, efficient, and enjoyable products and services by placing the user at the heart of the design process. When we talk about user interface, there are now a wide variety of technologies that can be used, from the well-known visual interfaces to tangible interfaces or mixed reality environments, as presented by Valérie before. But nowadays, meeting user needs and providing a good user experience is no longer enough. We must also consider the impact of the design choices made on the environment and society. So, here there is a list of books that you can read to complete your knowledge about user-centric design and beyond. And after, we propose you also a list of existing tools to cover all the methods that we introduce you. But we didn't test all these tools. It's just to know that there's tools existing. And to learn more about interface design, we invite you to participate in the workshop taking place on November the 13th at least. The workshop will focus on interface design for wall-size displays. A wall-size display creates a coherent physical view space that is at least of the size of a human body and exhibits a significant higher resolution than a conventional display. They are often used for the visualization of complex and large data, control rooms, decision-making support systems, and design. So now it's the time for question and answer.
Thank you, Valérie and Lou. Unfortunately, we don't have any questions in the question tab or neither in the chat we have questions. So I would say thank you very much to our speakers, and thank you very much for the participants for joining. Please feel free to, we don't have any questions. So please feel free to scan this QR code. So you will land on our event page where you can register for our future events. Also, the workshop mentioned by Lou will also be on the page. The next DIH talk, episode 7, is about risk governance in operational technology. And I invite you to also register for this webinar, which is hosted by the Luxembourg House of Cybersecurity. So thank you very much for joining, and I wish you all a very nice day. Thank you very much.